playing another video game, right? And for those who are not familiar with Scythe playing video games, the things that explode out of his mouth are hilarious. Okay.
Now, honestly, we could just make a show of those clips. Like
we
a
could.
whole series of just shit Scythe says while playing shooters.
I need to record those. And Lord Ziz 42, hello, how you doing, brother? Nice to have you here. And K9 First Blood, nice to see you in chat. I love it when people are in chat. I love it when people actually ask questions in chat. Unlike a lot of shows, we're actually going to bring your comments into the show and discuss them.
Unless we stop paying attention because we're yelling at Caleb.
We do like the audience interaction. We're not too keen on asking questions specifically to the audience and then waiting for like just this dead kind of air, just waiting for someone to sort of give their kind of comment about it. But we'll talk about the subject while you guys kind of think about what to say.
That's true. Unfortunately, Caleb was not able to come. I got a message from Riv earlier today that apparently he's come down with that evil flu that lots of people are getting.
He smoked too much pot.
I don't know what he did, but he has the flu, so we hope that he gets well soon. RJ is, I think, spending a little time with the family today. He may dial in on the phone as he's driving around with them, which is always fun. We get to hear everybody, so it's kind of cool. And we've got Scythe. Are you still playing a video game? Still playing another game?
I'm still playing a video game. I was in the middle of the match when you told me we're starting, so
What?
I'm going to continue playing said match. I will quit at the end of that. So if you hear me just go, it's because I've been killed like 8 times in a row, and I'm mad. And I'm trying not to swear really loud and hurt your ears.
He's currently taking a blast of shots to the face.
Yeah, so
pretty good, 8 and 2.
So ZYXXY1 is asking if the Keepstar battle is still going on, and to my recollection, it never stopped. I mean, it's been going on for what, 4 or 5 days at this point. Tie-dye is so terrible. We think the server is just burned up. We're not sure.
We're pretty sure it caught on fire. Because all I remember is that Falcon was on the show and said, "I'll be right back," and then he never came back. So pretty sure the fire department came. The fact that you're all playing, you're actually playing on the Chinese server, and you just don't know it.
Yeah.
The hardware for that.
The battle of the tie-dye and the disconnects. 4 hours relog in that fight. K9 First Blood said it is tough. Ice Slayer asked what you're playing, Scythe. I don't know if we said.
I'm playing Battlefront 2. Hence, there's a comment I made earlier that one of y'all can explain real quick because I'm getting shot at.
I think it was it "Fuck you, Yoda"?
Eat rocket launcher.
Eat a fucking rocket.
Fuck you, Yoda. Eat a fucking rocket is exactly what I think he said. So some guy was taking out his squad.
Yoda was being a bitch. I hit him with a rocket and he died.
You see, it's that kind of commenting that doesn't seem to, for some reason, make it into the films. I don't know why.
It's because I control myself when we're on stream, because I yell that really loud, and I really don't want to hurt the audience's ears. I don't give a shit about you fucks.
No, but I have to wonder why it didn't get it. Didn't why sort of like that kind of wordplay, that kind of prose didn't actually get into the Star Wars films. Like,
because
it's so real life.
That like weird Kiwi dude whose name I forget.
Ah, yes.
They don't swear. If you swear, you're not allowed back in New Zealand, from what I've heard.
From what you've heard.
It's just,
there's a lot of New Zealanders that need to get deported then.
If you have any lizard tendencies, they don't let you in just because they think you might be a snake in disguise.
There's a lot of Kiwis that need to get deported in that regard then.
By the way, we
I know that for a fact.
We do need to have a word from our sponsors. So
I'm
going to pause for a brief message from our sponsors here.
We actually got a
welcome to this week's Push to Talk, sponsored this week by new Tide Pod flavored Oreos. They're good for you and they're yummy. So there that is.
Proud of this.
Hey. Tide Pod Oreos will be a blessing for most parents, especially parents who have kids who swear a lot.
Oh shit!
Wash your mouth out with an Oreo.
Wash your mouth out with an Oreo. That's their fucking catchphrase. It's on the box.
I think with Life Shifter, I think we gave him a heart attack, or he's rolling his eyes, or he can't take it anymore.
Oh my god.
So, public service announcement: don't eat fucking Tide Pods. They are toxic.
Eat wall cotton candy. It's better.
So Life Shifter, Caleb's on his deathbed with the flu. So yeah, we went over that earlier. So that's our challenge. And everybody else who's not camera ready.
You could put a lovely picture of a cat, maybe. You know, I've heard that we love cat pictures.
We could put his nice waterfall picture out there or something like that, but we're good. So we had PlexX followed us. We got a follow from him, so thank you very much, PlexX, for the follow. We are going to talk a little bit about the Keepstar battle here in a little bit. McLeod has a lot of insight into what happens when we go into deep tie-dye like we did. And
I may have a lot of experience in big lag fights because I've been basically doing it since the old NC died.
And we have out there, who is it? Lords is. He commented in there. If you're not watching the stream, I know you're playing games. Scythe. He said that he joined Goonswarm 6 months ago. Said it was the best decision he ever made in his EVE life, and he's great to be here. One of the things that's nice about EVE, whether you're joining Goonswarm, N3, Init, Bastion, any of those larger alliances, and there's 100 of them out there, as long as you find a place where you get along with the folks in the game, that's going to make the game good for you. So we're glad Goonswarm fits for you, Lordsies. Happy to have you here. What? We got Jay Silent. What was the large smart bombing crew there just to produce more lag? I'm not sure. Squeaky Bee. I want a Squeaky Bee.
It depends. Like, so, I know for a fact that Init were running a smart bomb Loki crew. Like, but that wasn't with intent to create lag. That was purely based, purely to
take out drones, essentially.
No, to help counter the things that will fuck up our Raven fleet, essentially. So it was a legitimate reason for it to be there. I don't know what other smart bomb groups were there, but we didn't really do that much. I was actually in a smart bombing Loki, and I never once got on a single kill mail. I never once actually got to fire off my my smart bombs because I disconnected about a minute and a half after we jumped in, and then I spent an hour and a half trying to get back in, and then when I did get back in, all of my mods were offline, so I had to try and dock somewhere, put all my mods back online and undock. And if anybody knows about the issues with docking and undocking on that 9TAC4 fight, that took at least an hour and a half as well.
Yeah, just docking and undocking.
And yeah, just undocking and docking and undocking. And even after I'd docked, put all my mods online and undocked, half of my mods were still offline. So I had to somehow warp off to a safe, drop my mobile depot, and try and online mods, which I ended in this weird kind of dual university kind of thing where my my depot was basically telling me that all of my mods were were online, but my actual the area of the user interface where you actually fire off your smart bombs and stuff like that was saying that half of my stuff was still offline. So I was like, this is so fucked. So at that point I just clicked up and just waited until everybody left.
Yeah, I mean, even my interface, right? I was in there and I was doing certain things that I won't talk about. But my interface, I didn't even have full information on the system. I didn't have a lot of things. It was very strange. That was probably the worst tie-dye I've ever been since the 285 AU warp at a Megathron in 10% tie-dye.
I'd like to actually. I kind of want to. This is a bit of a pet peeve, a bit of an annoyance for me, but I'd like to actually correct you on what you said.
What?
That isn't the worst tie-dye that you've experienced. That's the worst lag that you've experienced. Everyone experiences tie-dye up to a certain point, and that's up to that 10% limit. After we hit that 10% limit, that's when old school normal lag that everyone had before we had tie-dye. That's what happens at that point. When you get to that 10% tie-dye, that's when the tie-dye system has gone as far as it can go to gracefully, run the simulation. After that point, all bets are off. It's basically old school lag. It's basically, if you're jumping in at 10% tie-dye, you could very well crash on jumping in and then end up getting shot like fish in a barrel, like old school.
Okay, so and I think that probably had a lot to do with some of the things we were experiencing last week, right? Or last weekend.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It was. You have experienced, I think, on the test server, right? Some of the testing that they've done with going below 10% tie-dye, McLeod. Is that correct?
Sorry, say that again?
You've experienced some of the testing with lower than 10% tie-dye, right? Or
I was lucky enough to be on the test server when they were doing that, yeah, which was kind of cool.
So,
that?
Well, because that was when Veritas was still a dev. And he was part of the team he was part of Team Gridlock, and this is how the system works. The system works. It can go less than 10%. The issue is CCP basically decided that 10% is the slowest that the game should run for the quality. To keep the kind of level of it's kind of weird to keep the quality of the game, because if you go slower than that, then it becomes really slow, and then fights are stretched out, way far in advance, way more than it really should be. So they kind of made this arbitrary limit of 10%, and they've stuck to it. But it can go lower than that. On the Singularity test server, when Team Gridlock were doing their kind of testing of it, Veritas did actually drop tie-dye down to 0%, which paused the actual game in real time.
Wow. Well, yeah, it would have to, right? I mean, it's 0%.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just not processing, right? And that's
you still have the effects. You still have like the the cyano effects going, just really like ridiculously slow. You still have the kind of sounds. It's kind of a bit weird. It was like you still had the sounds of, like, say, like the rockets and stuff like that, and you still had the sort of the effects of the rockets and stuff, but like, yeah, everything was just stopped.
Yeah, I still am gonna be on the side that I would rather experience tie-dye and even all the problems that it has today, because it's not perfected, right, than not have tie-dye, right?
Yeah.
Well, the capability to even be there in a fight like that is still amazing to me.
Yeah, no, those fights are what make this game interesting, because those are the ones you talk about year after year after year after year. People still mention Asakai, they still mention BTEC R, and that's what honestly brings people to this game, is they hear, oh yeah, there's a fight where 10,000 people were duking it out over 2 or 3 systems at the same time over this one stupid space station. You're gonna hear about that, though. Can we just say fuck IGN and their reporting staff, because they don't do any research at all.
To be fair, yeah,
I read Reddit, and that's it.
Yeah, sort of the mainstream gaming medias and stuff like that. They don't really look into it too heavily. No, but then again, we're all geeks when it comes to EU. So like, if it's not 100% perfect, we'll have serious issues with it.
See, I'm a geek when it comes to all games. So I go and I actually do research, and I'm like, oh, IGN just put this thing out about this stupid shit. And I go and do reading. I'm like, oh, they read the first sentence of a Reddit post. Okay. Yeah, that's where they got their facts. Got it.
Yeah. There's also a thing about immediacy as well when it comes to media and stuff like that. You do actually want to get the story up onto the front page, at some point, when it's still hot.
Yeah, but it's still one of those things where if you're going to put something out, at least make sure you fucking you fucking at least are telling the truth, And
at least have someone.
That's all media. That's not just gaming news. This is all fucking news. At least make sure you're actually putting out the correct information.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and Thread in chat just said, hey, everybody who complains about tie-dye and all the bad effects and the disconnects and everything, they're all going to show up for the next big fight.
Oh, fuck yeah. If another big fight shows up, I will again, once more, claim space flu. And I will call out sick, and we will fucking shoot some fucking test or whoever the fuck it is we're going to be shooting at that time. Or
I don't think
we shoot Panhorde. My bad.
I don't think it'll be test because
I'm sorry I said test. I'm looking at stupid Eve posts on the Facebook group, and someone posted another one of those dinosaur fucking cartoons, and they're fucking hilarious, but they're also retarded.
I'm only saying that it's probably not going to be test because chances are that test won't actually, Pro God won't actually go into a tie-dye fight if there's if you can help it.
And as we talk about this, we originally had Grath slated to be on the show today, but he may be sleeping or forgot or whatever. But that's what Caleb told me, that he would be here, and so I reached out to him, but I haven't heard back yet. So if he shows up, and we'll talk more about his perspective on a post-mortem on the event. Tie-dye is tough, and I come from an IT background, right? I live in basically converged technologies, VM technologies, things like that, and making things go fast in those technologies. The other thing that we're trying to do in the next week or two, we're trying to get some of the ops guys from CCP on. No promises that we'll ever get them, but we would really like to delve into what's happening in that background on those systems, how those processes are working, how their VM is set up, because they are on VMware, I believe. They're not necessarily on Converge, but they're on shared blades, which are essentially motherboards and PCs just plugged directly into a backplane. They don't have traditional networking ports and things of that nature. Everything is virtualized, even the Ethernet connections. They all run across the backplane, so it's very, very different than what we're used to in a server farm in a traditional data center. So it could be interesting conversation with those guys, getting very geeky one day. But I think, the big challenge, though, and I think most people know this, is, essentially the primary portions of the server side of Eve are written single-threaded, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest challenge. And unless you're on unless CPU speeds are going up, the game's not going to run faster, right? Unless you're clocking in at 5 gigahertz or 6 or 7 or 10 gigahertz eventually, it's not going to be faster, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And I just wanted to kind of respond to a few people.
Okay, go ahead.
On Twitch, actually, if that's okay.
Please do.
I think kind of Super Snowman's like he was just basically saying that people will go to tie-dye fight because they want to be represented in there, like they want to win, and being present in those fights help your sides to win. And that is a very good point. Like if you know that the other side is going to be bringing an overwhelming force, if you decide not to be there because it's not going to be a enjoyable fight, then when your alliance starts ceding territory and losing structures because you're not turning up to the fights to at least help counter it, you've only got yourself to blame. You can't blame any of your other kind of teammates or, start blaming CCP because, it's not producing a quality fight for the amount of money that you may or may not give them. Like, so I think that's very, it's one of those things. Like, you're never gonna get a situation where, if a fight is happening at a particular point at a particular time and people have had a lot of time and a lot of notice to be able to get ready for that, like it's never going to be a situation where people are only going to bring in a quarter or a fifth or a sixth or whatever, like a tiny percentage of the people that they need to commit to it just to have a quality fight in terms of the actual game.
Yeah, and so Urandus is mentioning in the chat, right? CPU clock speeds aren't going to go up. In fact, I would say that we're really not going to see anything go up. What we're going to see is computer architecture evolved to more mesh networks, right? So, Oracle software has a thing called real application clusters, and they have Exadata and things of that nature, where they can actually take queries coming into a database, spread them across multiple nodes, handle all the data locking and everything across hundreds of nodes if you want, but traditionally 10 or 12 is the max that you see out there in the real world. And they can just slice and dice everything, drop it down the different threads, bring it back, and be very quick with this. In fact, they're even offloading some of the I/O down to lower portions and the way it searches to different tiers in the case of Exadata. And they do this on a server farm, right? Mm-hmm. So you have a single query coming in, or thousands a minute, right? Tens of thousands a minute, hundreds of thousands a minute. And they actually branch them. So you have a single kind of machine that you see, but it's really could be hundreds of VMs for all you know, right? And that's where technology is going to go more toward. They're not going to go through faster CPUs. And you were going to say before I cut you off.
I just wanted to say, like, crap, what was it?
But yeah, if you've got, and you're going to say this too, if you've got single CPU, single threaded type code, and you're still supporting, hell, if you're supporting 2,000 people on one node, I'm freaking impressed, right? But you're taking it up to 4, 5, 6,000 people on a node. It's pretty efficient code as it's written.
It's fairly efficient, yeah.
I
remember what I was going to say.
I'm surprised that we got that many into that fight, and it actually kind of worked. Now, McLeod, you had mentioned a point earlier about how the strategy we're using wasn't working, and we think it might be due to an oversight with priority on action on the servers as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could do, yeah. Well, basically, once you get past the situation where tie-dye is kind of gracefully, handling the situation, once you hit that 10% tie-dye wall, everything goes over to old school lag. And when old school lag kind of occurs, a lot of people have realized over the years of dealing with big fights that go to old school lag, is that a lot of the ships and a lot of the mechanics that are tied to those ships seem to have a degree of prioritization for the server. Like, essentially what you're doing is you're sending requests to the server and they're being fulfilled by the server as and when it can. But it seems as though, and I haven't got, I don't think there's actually any like CCP dev that's actually said this is how it is, but a lot of people have speculated and have sort of basically treat this as fact almost, that basically there's the server prioritizes certain actions over other actions, and those prioritizations are based normally on the size of the asset that's basically requesting the action. So if you're a little Tristan trying to warp scramble somebody, you're probably gonna not get your request like seen by the server. But if you're a Titan that's firing a Doomsday, chances are you probably will get your request answered by the server. That's how it is. With the new fighter mechanics that have come out, we saw on the 9-Tech-4 kind of fight that a lot of people couldn't actually reload their fighters and relaunch their fighters. That's a new mechanic. That's a fairly new piece into the mechanics of fighters and super carriers. Sorry, not fighters. In terms of carriers and super carriers, I have that feeling that maybe that particular action has not actually been given a prioritization for the server to basically order the prioritization. So I think it was actually dropped to the lower part of the prioritization. So in actual fact, most of the requests for people to reload their fighters wasn't really received by the server in any way, shape, or form. I think that's probably what happened.
I think it's very plausible, right? Unless we knew which pieces of the code are going to certain branches of the code, it's really difficult to figure out what's happening, right? What we do know is that there's got to be a priority in that transaction processing through the CPU. Also, don't discount the fact that under heavy network load, a single VM can have significant issues depending on how the network is set up for it to use. Okay, so I'm talking general networking, right? Under VMs under high stress network load, they can lose packets, and not only that, VMs will tend to lose network packets under high CPU nodes. Okay, the CPU is processing so fast it can't read or write packets on the network. It's pretty amazing. We've seen that happen a number of times in the VM world. Especially when you're looking at things that are network based. I think that accounts for some of the inability to connect back into your server. I think that's something they might want to look at. Pew Pew and Uranus are having some great conversation in chat. If you're not watching it, it's a really good one related to coding and multi-threading of code and things of that nature. I've said before that I believe that Eve in CCP's mind is really in maintenance mode. No matter what they say publicly, I think behind closed doors at the upper echelons, I think that's where they're at. That's a guess, educated guess from me, not fact. And if it is, they're not going to rewrite. They're not.
I have to kind of wonder. Like, I mean, yeah, they might be in maintenance mode, but like they're not going to be in permanent maintenance mode forever, kind of thing. Like we are getting close to having Seagull coming back to the team. After she's been out on maternity leave for quite some time. I would have to say, ask both you, Eric, and Scythe, and the actual, the people out there watching and listening. Do you think it's getting close to the time where CCP is going to have to bite the bullet and actually try and rewrite Dogma to actually be VM, or at least be multi CPU or multi-thread kind of capable?
Well, when I talk about
that point,
when I talk about maintenance mode, I talk about a life cycle of a product, right? Whereas they're not going to go into that mode of heavy development again. They'll do tweaks and enhancements and things to keep you happy, but core code stuff they're not going to fix. Now, I hope I'm wrong, right? Yeah. And I hope Seagull comes back and says, "Let's do it," right? But you don't know. Go ahead, Scythe.
So my thought on that, McLeod, is that the easier option than trying to rewrite the code is to re-meta the game to where you don't need that large of a fight to do something, where you're not going to have the people complaining about it. But I mean, you're always going to get those large fleets dropping on people, but they're not going to be necessary. And I think that's the issue, is because that's what gets my whole thing is they don't market their fucking game, and they're not, and that they're going to go away from the few free ads they're getting, essentially, if they do that. But I do think that's what they're going to go for, because
I think
fix the timer, if they fix their timers so that they are also in tie-dye, it may solve the issue.
I have both an issue with that and a potential possible kind of halfway house for that. So a lot of people kind of say, "Oh, well, why don't they just fix the timers to be in sync with tie-dye?" Well, the thing is, at the moment, the way that it is with the timers not being synced with tie-dye, so it's 15 minutes on the wall, on the clock on the wall, rather than 15 minutes based on 10% tie-dye, which is 150 minutes. Which is like an hour and hour and 2 hours and a half, 2.5 hours,
something like that.
Yeah.
So the issue there is if it stands as it is now, basically what it means is the defenders. It basically means that the defenders have an advantage if they produce tie-dye, because if they max out tie-dye, because it means that essentially that 15-minute timer at 10% tie-dye on the wall really only in game feels like 2.5 minutes, essentially. If they did it the other way around, then it means that the aggressors, the people attacking, it warrants them to create as much tie-dye as possible. So you get in this situation where, either side are trying to produce tie-dye because tie-dye in effect, helps them in that kind of way.
So McLeod on that though, the defenders already have the fact that their station or plex rather here has a damage cap on it, and that no matter what, the attackers must stay on field X amount of time to kill the station, and that the shortest amount of time is locked in at however much the damage cap is over total hit points or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know the math for it off the top of my head, but making it so that the tie-dye helps the attacker where the damage cap helps the defender, I think would make that fight more interesting, because it means the defender actually has to fight. They can't come up with some they actually have to field a fleet to defend, instead of just, oh well, all we have to do is hold them off for 20 minutes in tie-dye and they're going to lose, and the enemy will retreat because they can't hit the damage cap or they can't pause the timer.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from that, but like the way I kind of see it in terms of the halfway house, that I was thinking of how it would work, is you keep the timer not affected by tie-dye, but you just increase the length of the timer. So at the moment it's 15 minutes. At the moment it's 15 minutes, right? And if it's not affected by tie-dye, then essentially what it feels like in the game at 10% tie-dye is 2.5 minutes. If it's affected by tie-dye, then it feels like it's 2.5 hours, right? So all you do is you make sure that it's not affected by tie-dye, and then you up the length of time that the timer takes.
What would make me just happy is if they fucking got rid of the damage cap. Then it doesn't matter how the timer runs, because you're going to field as much damage as possible from the front, and tie-dye will already be fucked for both sides as it is. So and that was my thought on that fight. I was like, okay, so we're gonna drop the CFC. We dropped supers, or the Imperium rather now, whatever we call ourselves. We dropped supers into that drone trick. And if you're watching the stream, all these old school FCs are sitting there going, yeah, their drones are not going to get there in time. I'm like, of course not. It looked like we moved late. Well, if we moved late, why don't we just fucking drop a dread bomb? Because they go into siege, they're not going to be broken, and they can at least apply DPS to stop the timer. We're going to lose the dreads, but I'd rather lose dreads than supers.
Yeah, but your max, right? Your max DPS is 5 dreads, right? And as they were saying, as soon as you drop a dread, its lifespan is 2 minutes.
Yeah. But you know that the supers that were there on on PanFam's kind of side, they had a whole bunch of Titans, they had a whole bunch of supers there, so like you drop 5 dreads, those dreads are dead. Like in,
they wouldn't even are the pawn in that fight though. They're sacrificial pieces. They're cheap as fuck. We crank them out like fucking frigates, and just throw dreads at them until it dies.
The building machine of Delve. Yeah, we just crank them out like they're freaking candy. And by the way, we do.
I'm not wrong though.
You're not.
You have to admit I'm not wrong. I'm pretty sure if I wanted to, I could ask 20 members of my corp, hey, do you have a dread coming out that I could buy from you? And they would all say, I've got 6 coming out
I would
3 days.
I would say that Super Snow actually does have a point there. Like, if we were dropping, you'd be dropping dreads in a 10% tie-dye, max 10% tie-dye situation. Yeah. Chances are either the dreads won't even load grid before they're dead, or if they did load grid, chances are their guns wouldn't actually even activate.
Right, because
of the amount of
right, and we know there's an issue with dread guns in high tie-dye. We absolutely know that already. Just ask the person
who made a mega fleet.
Right.
So the only other strategy I could think of for that situation is the full-on hell camp of we hold the field for 4 days before the timer or whatever, a day before the timer, however long it needs, and you fucking shoot anything that moves.
You know what? You know what? You know what? Like, I have to give credit to PanFam here because, like, they were in system on the Keepstar well in advance of Imperium coming in, and if you actually want to know, when it comes to the huge fights, the huge strategic fights, a lot of times when it's gone to, when it's gone to the point of actually old school lag, it's always been the group that's been set up before the other one that has actually been the victor of the fight. Like, it happened when the DRF were basically, dismantling the old Northern Coalition. Like, a lot of the fights, because I was part of the Northern Coalition at the time, so I was in fleets waiting to get, to jump into the systems that we were going to try and fight for, the big strategic ones.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, we were going in there hours after the DRF had actually already entered system. They were just sitting there waiting for the timer to actually, to come up. They were in there before we were in there, hours beforehand. And amazingly enough, when we jumped in, we had a whole bunch of server issues and a whole bunch of black screening, all that, and it was just a turkey shoot. And 9 times out of 10, when we had those, those big engagements, those big kind of strategic engagements, the old NC lost against the DRF because we arrived too late. We thought we were arriving on time, kind of thing, but it was way too late.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I want to pause here and thank I think it was Century Fox who cast us a follow. Thank you very much. We accept follows, we accept subs. If you've got Amazon Prime, it's a free sub for you if you link it up, and we also accept tips if you've got them out there. You like the show, shoot us some cash. I also want to welcome Spanx to the show. Spanx hopped in chat. He's one of our good long-term good friends, and we welcome him to the show.
I hope I'm not too late. I just got to my office and saw that you guys were live, so I just thought I'd grace my presence.
You are more than welcome anytime, Spanx. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we run longer than an hour sometimes. We got yelled at last week because we were running a little too close to the meta show for Life Shifter's enjoyment.
No,
comfort level.
Life Shifter, no.
when the show is good.
He's like going, wrap it up, guys. Let's go.
Life Shifter.
Come on, we're losing daylight.
We're having fun, though.
I know. We're just having a little fun with Life Shifter, too. He's a good guy. I met him.
Yeah.
Very nice guy. So, Spanx, we're talking about the Tight Eye of Death in the Keep Star thing. We're going to talk about a few other games a little later, too. One of the things I wanted to say is, we see CPP trying to find the next big thing with a number of games, and they keep failing, right? These games consistently fail. They didn't even do it with VR. They had to exit that. Is there a market out there for an engine, okay, for a generically coded engine that can work with any game, that can do what CCP wants to do with these 6,000-man fights, right? So rather than looking at it from an improving age or improving the quality of EVE, look at it as creating a marketable product that can an engine that not only powers EVE, but can be licensed to other people to have big games like EVE. Right?
Actually
brain in the box,
brilliant
multi-threaded engine that does this shit. What do you guys think?
Does it exist? I don't know.
It doesn't. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. CCP keeps looking for the next big thing to sell and license and be a big deal in the gaming industry. To me, that's a big deal because that's the big draw of EVE. These giant frickin' flights. So imagine, Battlefield 2 licensing the CCP engine to actually have a real war of 6,000 people storming Normandy. Right?
Yeah, there's a couple games that tried that, and it was like Raw or something. There's some weird freaking name, and it was like a 254-man multiplayer FPS, and it played real bad.
Well, yeah, because nobody has an engine.
Yeah, and then but there are games that actually do that well, like PlanetSide 2, where you'll have 80 or 90 people on each side of an engagement shooting the hell out of each other, and it does work.
I don't know if this is going to be the next greatest thing in gaming. I have been keeping my eye on it, but it's Amazon Game Studios using their own gaming engine called Lumberyard
Yeah, and it's pretty good.
In conjunction with the Amazon Web Services and all that other stuff, development's been... there was a lot of news about it when it first came out, and it's died off a lot.
Well, I don't want to say the name of the game because it makes the audience mad, but a certain other space game that's coming out is fucking using it.
Well, you know what?
Don't stab me. I like both. I can like all space games. Okay.
Yes, you're right. I did hear about that Chris Roberts game switching over to Lumberyard, but
yeah, and they broke a contract to do it, but apparently it's because it actually fucking works.
And Amazon themselves are also developing games too.
Yeah.
They stopped development on they had like an arena style game, and then they just stopped developing it because they were going through like beta testing, and then the players were just like, I don't really like this.
Yeah. And I mean,
so that, maybe it'll be the next best thing will be Amazon and Lumberyard.
I mean, I don't see any reason not to. They're putting their resources in to make that damn thing, use it.
I mean, they've got 4 or 5 studios. They got one in Seattle, one in San Diego, one in. I mean, they're going big.
Yeah.
They were pumping out a lot of articles, but it's been pretty quiet past 6-7 months.
Well, we'll have to look into that and maybe talk about that in one of the shows. I'm gonna do a little research.
I kind of just wanted to sort of bring this back a little bit to like the Eve server and all that kind of thing. Because where is it? Because Arandis was basically saying like, CCP could try licensing out, their Dogma engine, to other developers, in the same, in the way that you said, Eric, like, see it as another asset to be able to be utilized to make money. The thing is, with Dogma as it is at the moment, it's got a lot of failings. Not and the biggest one is the fact that it is single-threaded only. The fact of the matter is, if you could make it so it actually can actually handle multi-threaded, it's a big chunk of work, like colossal amount of work to do that.
Maybe,
but you're talking about taking an engine that runs only on it's not like a single CPU. It's a single core of that CPU. When we've got
it's a thread of a core, right? Thread of a core.
Yeah, it's a thread of a core. It's not even multi-threaded, so you can't really use hyper-threading on that single core. It's a single process. That's it.
Right.
If you could get it to be multi-threaded and multi-core, like across the same, on the same server board, like you've got server boards now that are capable of having 4 CPUs on, with 22 cores each. That's 88 threads. It's like something like 88 times 4. Like, what the hell?
I'm trying to think some of the converged things that are out there, and I'm thinking that most of the blades that you see are 24 or 48 thread. 48 thread, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. But you do have Intel server CPUs that have 22 cores, 22 cores, 40 threads.
Yeah, and by the way, so Pew Pew's saying some things too, right? We are not talking licensing Dogma, right? This is if CCP were to view this as an asset that they can make money with and do the investment like they do for other games. First off, you're going to have to get some really good programmers. You're not going to be able to pay shit wages like they like to pay, I think. You really got to do the real deal. You got to grow. You got to be a bigger deal than you are today. And I'm not saying they have bad programmers. I'm just saying they don't pay them enough. And they need a different a coder with a different architecture background than single-threaded stuff. So they would have to do this. Is pie in the sky. They would have to view it as a licensable product, and the investment and the ROI on that investment would have to be there. I don't know that there is. right?
But you're looking at the potential of what Dogma could do if it was multi-threaded capable.
Yeah,
like you plonk it on a 4 CPU server board with 422 core CPUs. Have 352 threads that it could run. It's currently running on one.
Yeah,
and we're having flights of like up to 4,000.
Yeah, and don't run it on Windows servers. Please move it to Linux boxes. Okay, please. Okay, move the fucking server code into Linux boxes.
But yeah, you know,
shared memory works better under Linux than it does under Windows.
I just like to say to the people out there, like, imagine how smooth the gameplay, imagine how big fights we can have when we're having close to like manageably decent fights with 2,000 people, like you know, close to breaking point kind of lag fest fights with 4,000, absolute shit shows at 6,000, and that's one thread when you could be having 352 threads.
Yeah, you could. And
I just want to say
now, by the way,
they're doing what they can with what they have,
and then license that out. Like,
yes,
like, it's really impressive they can do what they're doing, but there's room for improvement.
Yeah, and it's going to be like, screw you, we can put 6,000 people and run real time. Now, understand, though, as you multi-thread out, right, you're not going to get a linear progression of power, right?
It's not linear.
It's
no.
You know, you're going to have, reductions in, degradations over the, a successive amount of cores. But even so, like, even with that degradation, 352 versus 1, you're still going to get a lot of performance out of that.
You're expecting a massive jump in performance if you can do it. My question is, coding-wise, what would happen to the game as is if they did this? Like, would we, the players, see a change in, like, oh, so some of those stations you put down no longer exist because when we updated the code, we fucked up somewhere? Like, would that affect us, And you would hope they would test it out, but still.
Well,
what
here's the thing.
We expect as players that you might...
Here's the thing. You got code growing pains, QA problems all the time. I mean, it just is, right? But you're not looking at fundamentally changing it. Some of the things that I've noticed recently, right? I go into a Citadel. It takes forever to load industry.
Oh,
okay? Yeah. It takes forever to load inventory. And not forever, but longer than it used to, right? You can tell that certain parts of the game are slowing down based on this code. Just trying to do what they're doing. And by the way, we don't have the peak players that we had 3-4 years ago, right? Imagine if you bring that peak player level back, the impact that you could have across the servers, right? Now, I want you guys to envision something with the multi-threaded code. I don't just want multi-threaded code. I want code that can go across VMs, okay, or physicals. Doesn't matter. It's just a host, right? So imagine a battle, okay, and it grows bigger. They don't put it on a bigger host. They don't add more CPU. They don't add more memory. They leaf a node out in the cluster. So you could be running across 5 nodes in a giant battle, and they could just leaf more VMs in as they need them and grow it. Can you imagine what that could do for the gaming industry as a whole?
That'd just be amazing.
All you're telling me is that the full-size Battle of Hoth can happen in Battlefront 3.
Absolutely.
I need that in my life. I need a full fucking fleet engagement in a Star Wars game. I need this in my life.
And can you imagine how you can price that as a marketable thing, as a license
people
thing?
Would FPSs would buy it in a heartbeat, because that's one thing, like Arma and stuff like that. People really do enjoy
PUBG.
We have 1,000 fucking tanks on this battlefield spread out technically, and this fight over here is closed off to the other group. But if they could join up, because our tank spear has defeated the enemy, we can now move in with our inventory and stuff and reinforce and that kind of stuff. It'd be badass as fuck.
By the way, so Pew Pew is kind of saying, holy shit, you'll be too over-threaded, too parallel, too parallelized, right? So understand that this isn't... I'm not talking about a new technology. This technology with synchronization and critical synchronization of timing across multiple nodes exists today. It's being used. Okay? Yeah. So I'm not talking about developing something that isn't out there. People understand how to code this.
Yeah, it's being used. It's just not being used in this way.
There is a way to share locking across multiple machines in memory. Guys, it's a real thing.
In this way, but it's being used to, virtually model things, scientific kind of
no, it's being used in everyday business,
weather models and all that kind of stuff as well. But it's being done. Like the critical kind of aspects to get this to work is already there.
By the way, somebody's saying I'm using super and hyper computing management technique. I'm not. This stuff is available on VM stuff. You could do it with multiple physical nodes. I could set up 5 PCs here in my house and do this. It's not as complex as you think.
I'm kind of laughing because you're really having to hold back about what you can say, and it's I know why.
Yeah, I know. You know why.
I'm like I can hear it in you that you want to just go for like an hour about this, but you can't say anything.
This is real stuff, guys.
Yeah, let me say a little bit. If you're gonna believe anyone's opinion on this, trust Eric. Just because I know what he does for a living, he knows what the fuck he's talking about. All right, take my word as the least technical person on this show to tell you he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
The least technical person knows.
I was gonna say Sure.
Well, I can tell based on the conversations I have with him when we're at work and all this, and in person when we're hanging out just goofing it.
Yeah.
He can talk circles around any of y'all and anyone.
Well, not anybody. There are a lot of smart people out there, and a lot of smart people that play Eve, right? And by the way, we're saying that there is technical capability. Again, we are not talking in terms of ROI. We are not talking in terms of the commitment that CCP would do it. And yes, I being in that side of the business, I completely understand the scope of development that would be required, right? So I get it. But I'm saying these are all things that could happen, and the question is, and will be, does CCP see that, and is the vision there, and is the ROI there to create an engine that would do that? We're just talking pie in the sky. Hey, this would be really freaking cool.
So I think something that could actually lead them to this is demand has to show, but what's the cost versus reward essentially here? Cost analysis of actually setting up this code. How much would they have to invest to get this going? Because that really will be the game changer. I think the startup cost to get this project rolling, if they do try or take this idea that we're hypothetically throwing at them and run with it, what do you think? Do you think CCP has the assets to start that project? That's what I'm asking.
Well, that's where you get the investment. They got $20 million to go into VR, right, or $30 million, whatever it was, right?
And with investment, you need to show that there is
potential
something to be gained to the investors at the end of that. At the end of it,
absolutely. And so
that's the thing. It's not like the end product will be. It's not like the end product. The only thing that will come from the end product is, some happier Eve players. No. You could actually. You can market this and license this for a big sum of money.
Yeah, no, like the product at the end would be immensely valuable. Are they going to get those investments again? Are they going to be able to negotiate that with their VR idea? Not necessarily. I don't know if I would say it doesn't really pan out, but I don't see it as a moneymaker for.
Depends, right? Go ahead.
They just sold that arm of their business, the VR.
Yeah, exactly. Did they make that money back? Like, did they operate that at a loss? That's what I want to know.
I thought that they broke even on the sales side prior.
And a break even, honestly, is not terrible for them.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, if you, as long as you're not losing money, it's not that big of an issue. But our investors who saw this going to be willing to give them more money to try another new project that's on a similar scope in my mind.
Yeah, and so Noisy Gamer, it brings up a great thing. Would an engine of this type be valuable if MPorgs are dead, right? The question is, are MPorgs dead because you don't have this, right? And think of this in terms of as VR actually gets its feet underneath it, right? Can you imagine you come in, you come home, and you pop your VR glasses on, and you're I don't know. Let's take World of Warcraft as an example, right? Because you walk around in that one, right? Imagine putting your VR glasses on and you walk around in World of Warcraft, and now there aren't 100 servers to go to and play with 20 people or 2,000 people, whatever it is, but you walk into a server where everybody is.
And I think this is the VR MMO is what's going to bring MMOs back. Now, VR chat not close. No, don't think that's
I was gonna say.
We're thinking. I'm thinking Ready Player One level MMOs where your character is persistent, can do every genre of gaming, and it's more of a platform to do ideas of game, not necessarily is the game.
I do kind of feel like, all the trailers that I have seen on Ready Player One, they are missing something that is fairly critical that would be in there, and that is a whole bunch of Knuckles, Uganda Knuckles.
You're just saying that because the Initiative's new press shit is all Uganda Knuckles.
Amazing.
But where did he get a military uniform? What the fuck is happening in this progression of nonsense
if you got them,
that made? I love it.
It's amazing what you can get people to do if you throw them money. I'm just saying it, right?
Is that guy actually an Init player? Who is this dude?
No, he's like, you can get these people like if you're savvy and look on the internet well enough, you can find people who will advertise and say things and dress up in random weird uniforms and stuff like that to make a video to sell things for a fee. He's just one of those dudes. That's all it is.
I thought he might have been a player. I was trying to figure out who the fuck this guy was. Because I was like, this dude just came out of nowhere, and it's fucking amazing.
Because we've got a Train Apostle Alts one as well, with two. Two.
I've seen a couple of those from him, but I was just like, you have to mine the Ebola rocks first, people.
All I have to say is like props to that guy's professionalism,
dude,
and just doing it regardless of what the actual content was.
That dude is a pro, deserves Emmy,
Deserved that money, definitely. Holy crap. It was fun. I'll see if I can find it and put it in Twitch chat, actually, to be honest. Yeah. Because people are probably either have seen it and know exactly what we're talking about, or haven't a clue what the hell's been.
Haven't seen this. The Initiative has hired a dude to make videos for them, and they are amazing. Oh my god!
Are you saying we need to hire this guy to make some videos for us?
I would love a push to talk intro from him.
No, we got a push to talk intro. It's awesome.
No, just a cut to. You've been watching Push to Talk, and this is the segment where Eric and Caleb yell at each other for 30 minutes.
Is that
like he could?
We're working on that. We're working on that.
One of our cut twos, It's like this is the Eric and Caleb bitch for an hour session.
Is that the same website where you can pay and some dude will draw you a cat? All these people, or they'll sing a song, or they'll
draw you a cat.
Draw you.
Yeah, for $5 or something.
Draw my cat.
Video. That's an actual website.
That's like Pinterest or some shit. I don't know what the fuck.
Oh, it's not Pinterest.
It's like do you want to touch my monkey?
People sell all sorts of weird stuff that they
draw you a monkey.
$5, $10,
you want to touch
$15.
Oh my god. Oh, this dude is.
Noisy says he's been around for years. Yeah.
He may have been around for years, Noisy, but the Initiative was the first one to think, let's get him to make fake semi-Ugandan Knuckles videos to promote our fucking alliance.
Okay.
Oh, there's a second. Oh, what's this other one?
this one's definitely the best one.
Train Apostle Alts.
I can't watch these because the sound will go out over the stream, right? So I can't. I'll have to watch them later.
The second one McLeod linked is like hot chicks telling you to train Apostle Alts.
Fucking amazing.
That one's pretty good.
I'm gonna have to. You know,
I don't. Who is funding this and why?
You know what? I think I can't even talk.
Amazing people in it funded it. That's what happened.
I'm not a member of Init, and I want to fund these videos. I want McLeod. Can you get my alt in Init so I can say I'm in Init so I can claim those videos as our propaganda?
Scythe, I'm telling you, Scythe, there's a website. I do not know the name of it.
There's a website that lets people draw you cats. Yes, I understand.
Yeah, like it's
called, I think it's called Deviant Art or whatever, and you can hire commissions. I don't know which one you're talking about. But yes, you can just hire commission artists almost anywhere. Pay them. Pay them money. Don't be like, I'll get you likes. Do that because RJ is not here.
Scythe, are you doing shots again?
No. I've kept to my...
You're very animated.
I have no alcohol in this fucking house.
Oh, that explains a lot. That explains a lot.
No alcohol before 3 p.m.
No, it's no alcohol until I go to Europe because I decided it'll save me money and help me lose weight. So there you go.
There you go.
I need that sick money so I can hang out with McLeod if he gets time off while I'm in Europe.
Yeah.
Because I'll be in near the Londons.
Yeah. Well, I'll try not to get drunk like I did that one time at college.
That's the fun part.
Before 12 before midday. Let's put it that way. We were pretty wasted coming out the pub at about like 12:30.
Oh yeah, Scythe, are you going to be in McLeod's world? Are you going to hook up in the big town?
So at the end, the last like 3 weeks of September, I am going to be in London, Munich, and somewhere in the Italy. I don't remember which cities, but we're going to a couple places in Italy.
You going north or south Italy? You going white sauce or you going red sauce?
I did not pick the towns. I did not pick the places. I was told to take these days off and make sure your passport's up to date.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, that's going to be fun. I got it approved by my my regional manager's boss that I could take 3.5 weeks off of vacation.
Dude, I get it.
Amazing, man.
It's no different.
Me, though, to ask. She actually asked me what I was doing. I'm like, oh, we're doing this trip with my whole family, you know.
Well, that's actually not that unusual because when you have a lot of Indian developers and things like that, right? They like to go home for a month. They'll take 4 weeks, right? Because it's a long trip, right?
Yeah,
that's not unusual.
We have associates who are from India, and they go home for like a month at a time, and it's one of those things like, oh, what month are you going? Okay, everyone else, make sure you give them the room to do that because we take Christmas off, and they always volunteer to cover us and that kind of stuff. They don't if they don't celebrate the holiday with them. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Like it's a good dynamic.
Oh yeah, we have like big Diwali celebrations in the office and everything. We got all kinds of cool stuff.
That's badass.
It's fun.
So
it's interesting.
I'm the most. Uranus is right. I'm more excited about going to Germany than Italy for beer. Italy, I want to go to more for food. I don't give a shit about the rest of that place.
Oh, I love German food. German food's phenomenal.
I'm okay. I like some German food, but I like German beer, and that's what.
It goes with the food, man. It's just beautiful. It does.
The thing is, with an American, especially like you, Scythe, going over to Germany, all I'm thinking is it's going to be basically a real-world version of Beer Fest.
Yes.
Oh, fuck. If any of the goon boys in Germany want to go get fucking hammered, let's do it.
Yeah, dial 1-800-SCYTHE.
Look up Sothrasil.
Right there. German men, yeah. Sothrasil.
You too can get a picture of me in front of a go-go dancer passed out.
I don't think we actually aired that picture.
Oh, yeah, we did it. Oh, we did.
Okay.
You had it on there on the fucking intro. I saw it.
But that wasn't the intro that we showed.
Oh, I don't give a shit anymore. my
Scythe
I checked it out. It's fine. McLeod can throw the memes up there if he wants. I don't care.
It'll be fine.
So,
I've given up on life.
So full disclosure, I've got part German, part Italian, and I grew up with both culinary styles in the family, and I love them both. They're fantastic. I probably cook Italian more though than I will cook German because you don't have to measure everything. You just throw shit in there till it tastes right.
That's the best about Italian. Grab some tomatoes, grab some shit, just throw it in a pot. if it tastes right, you've done it. You've correctly made Italian food.
Right.
Surely Italian and German food are like almost polar opposites to each other. Like one's literally like, don't measure it, just like add it in, and if it's cool, then it's cool. And German's like, it must be precise.
You must measure twice, pour once.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about that.
Score exactly 37.5 times. It will not be good.
By the way, measuring only matters when you're baking because it actually is a chemical thing where everything else doesn't matter. And Uranda says, invoked Zell. If somebody says it 2 more times, I hear he shows up. But he was hilarious. So, but yeah, I cooked the other day and I got yelled at from my wife because I cooked too much of the ground meat, and she wanted to use some of it for hamburgers. So I'm not allowed to cook anymore, and which is fine with me. So I'm good.
That's like doing laundry. You mess it up one time, you never have to do it again.
Well,
all of the whites come out pink, and they just tell you leave.
By the way, I've been married for about 21 years, and there's a number of years before that I still haven't had to do laundry because I fucked it up once. Turn all your bras pink once, and you're done. So.
Oh damn!
You were supporting Breast Cancer Month.
That wasn't what was happening 20-something years ago. So
apparently, me and Harry wants me to go to a German sparkle party. I don't know what the fuck that is. Horrifying.
I don't know either.
We'll probably meet Zell there, to be honest.
So
is that Techno Viking guy going to show up? Because that guy seems like he's pretty cool.
Spanx, so what is a German sparkle party?
Yeah, Spanx, explain it to us. You seem to know what's up.
Which movie is that from? I want to say it might be. Is it Beer? No, it's not Beer Fest. It's
not,
which is a great movie, by the way. It's a classic.
Fucking Beer Broken Fest. Lizard. Super Troopers 2 in April, people. Super Troopers 2 in April.
It's in a movie and it's hilarious.
Oh my god!
Just forgot the name of said movie.
German sparkle party.
Definitely not Google.
What
the hell now?
Does it bring lots of tight leather?
Does it? I was wondering if it involved, sauerkraut and throwing it on naked women.
German S, it immediately brings up something on YouTube that I am now watching.
Oh no!
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like a YouTube.
The something experience, German sparkle party.
It was scaring me, Urandus.
This is fucking Christ! No.
We're all going to be looking it up after. At least I.
Oh no! I just commented it in the chat.
Yeah, I can't watch it during the show. I'm the producer.
Okay, you don't want to be watching. You don't want to be showing it on the show.
Oh no! It just popped up in the push to talk chat. Scaring me. Yeah. So, did we win yet?
You gotta wear
funny.
Rain boots? I'm so confused at what I'm seeing. But there's obviously a sexual predator in that video. I'm not sure what, but what it is.
And I thought nightclubs with soap bubbles on the dance floor were wild enough. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking. Okay.
I'm a boring individual. I've been married for many years.
You haven't gone to a sparkle party. Neither have I. I've determined that I really am not a club person. Just because I've never been to one of these.
You fall asleep in every club we go into. I proved that in Vegas.
That was a bar. I didn't fall asleep at the actual club.
Oh, the issue there, Eric, is that those go-go dancers just don't interest.
The average go-go dancers don't interest me. It's got to be like a one-of-a-kind experience.
Scythe, I'm sorry. It was my wife who fell asleep at the club, right?
I was about to say, I'm like fucking. I didn't fall asleep at the club. That was the night before that.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think she didn't make it.
I passed out in 35 at Eve Vegas after the Goon pub crawl, where apparently if you give a bartender $10, he gives you half a bottle of Jack Daniels. I gave them, and I gave them $50.
So.
and the cops told me I could not take my drink past where they were standing. So I said, okay. And then about 3 hours after that, I don't remember. Except puking in the toilet and not making a mess. I remember that.
You were very proud of not making a mess when you puked in the toilet.
I fell down going on an escalator. I was standing still.
He came.
It was. So good. I can't believe I made it to the bathroom because it was
the dirty secrets of E Vegas section of the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is a true story.
I can't wait to go back.
So I'm down. So I'm down at the bar, and Scythe goes away for a while, and then Scythe comes back down the escalator, and he's back at the bar, and he is so proud that he puked in the bathroom and didn't make a mess. He got it all in the toilet, didn't make a mess. He was very, very proud, ladies and gentlemen.
You have like, I was like, oh god, I'm gonna have to clean this up. I'm too drunk. I'm not gonna be able to figure out where the janitor's closet is. Like, where the fuck am I?
Why would you clean it up? You should get out of there.
Because I'm a responsible individual and I feel bad about it. Like you have no idea. I would feel so bad that I left that mess for someone else because I used to have to do that as a job, is clean up bathrooms.
So
it sucks.
I have to ask Erox here. He says I wear golf shirts, so it makes me look like a pimp. Which
golf shirts
pimp,
make you look like a pimp?
Pimp wears golf shirts, number one. And by the way, I live in golf shirts when I'm not at work. I will put like a blazer over a golf shirt and wear it because Erox, I think I'm actually the only golfer on this crew, right?
I play.
Okay, you play. Yes, you do.
Yeah, I broke a second. I broke my my 5 the 5 on my wood. I broke that one and a 3.
Oh, your 5 wood.
They're getting old, so I have to buy a new set. But I still play with what I have left.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. On a 3-day weekend, it would not be unusual for me to play Friday immediately after work, Saturday, Sunday, and the following Monday, and sometimes twice in one day.
See, I play about once every 3 to 4 weeks, maybe. But that's all I have time for.
I mean, I personally think that
nice.
I personally think it was the hat, the cane, and the fur coat that made you look more of a pimp, Eric.
Hey, I don't have any of those.
Is that
you lie.
Eric, is that your forest green, Greg Norman?
No.
Patriotic Tendencies polo?
Oh, it's this side. It's this side. This is the Patriotic Tendencies golf shirt right there with the B with the big gun.
That green color with the Patriotic Tendencies beyond there is like the best version of it.
I think it is. I don't have a green one. I think you're the only one with the green one.
Oh, I love the green one. It's really pretty.
I got the
purple one's pretty cool as well. That one looks pretty nice.
Uranus would rather go to the gym. I don't go to the gym, Uranus, if you haven't noticed. I just
play golf.
Golf is the perfect sport. You sit in a cart. If it's cold, by the way, it's like 50 degrees here. If the ground wasn't completely soaked, I'd be out there on the course today.
It's really pretty outside here.
Golf is the perfect sport. You drive around in a little mini car. You're actually allowed to get drunk.
Yep.
They have pretty young girls in a bigger cart with alcohol that bring the alcohol to you.
Yep.
Right? You got a little cooler on the side to put your beer in, and you can smoke cigars, get drunk, and drive around. Okay, it's the perfect sport. I don't know what you're talking about, Uranus.
That's not a sport. That's a pastime.
No, so you
can do all of that with any other sport, depending on just depending on your competition. Essentially,
I think if you added cigars and drinking to NASCAR driving, it would not be effective, McLeod. Okay, it's the velocity of the vehicle plus the quantity of alcohol.
Yes.
Hey, it's not it's not the speed of which you're playing that you're playing golf. That's the issue.
I'm gonna tell you, if you play golf and go-karts, it gets real challenging, and you cannot drink anymore.
Sure.
Oh wait, no, that's like go-kart polo, but it's the same. It's similar. You use a golf club because it's easier. It's short enough.
And Uranus likes shooting, which shooting is fine, except I'm not going to take the alcohol with me shooting.
Uranus, what do you have a carry? What's your normal go-to? We'll talk guns on here. I got this.
No, we're not talking guns.
But
we're just saying shooting is a great pastime, great sport. I love it and I enjoy it. But I'm not bringing alcohol with me when I go to it.
No, if you drink and go shooting, you do not deserve to carry a firearm.
Yeah, no.
You should lose your ability to get a permit.
Yep. So
FYI, I love what Gil 13 wrote, that golf enhances your off-road driving skills.
It does.
It does.
And sometimes it enhances your aquatic driving.
I want one of those. I want one of those carts with like the hover carts.
Huh?
Did you see the carts that are hovercraft?
Oh yeah. No, I was like, I've seen the hovercraft. I haven't seen a golf cart version because I've driven one of those like personal hovercrafts around. You see a tree 100 yards away, you're going to hit it at some point. You just don't know. Why would you use that for golf?
Okay, the moment they put hovercraft on the golf course, it's just going to be fucking bumper cars because we already got drinking, driving, smoking,
and hovering, and that's where it gets dangerous. Boom. I thought you were gonna say you're gonna get one of the like 6-wheeled all-terrain vehicle golf carts that I've seen that like goes in water.
No. The hovercrafts go over water though. Hovercraft goes over water.
Yeah.
You'd be like hovering over like the 3-foot water trying to get that golf ball. There'd be that guy. Don't be that guy. Okay.
I would go in after my ball and just hit it from the middle of the pond because I know I'm in the fucking pond at some point.
Do not be the guy. I hate the guys, by the way. They have like these little poles. They go out like 30 feet. They telescope, right, and have a little cup on the end, right? And they're out there in the water trying to get golf balls. Okay? If you need to worry about getting golf balls out of the water, your golf ball is too expensive. Okay? Yeah. It doesn't need to be $5. Okay, $5 ball doesn't make it any better.
You can get like 30 golf balls for like $10. Okay. Like, all right, it's pretty cheap.
All right, let's go back to more interesting talk about some games.
What if we added spaceships to golf? Would y'all appreciate that more? Like,
model rockets, shooting them at each other would be fun.
You shoot model rockets at the hole.
Yeah, Spanx. I hear you are playing, I don't know if it's a new game, but I hear you're playing a little Life is Feudal, and I kind of took a look at that, and that looks pretty freaking cool, and there's some goons playing that, aren't there?
Life is Feudal, is it?
Is that what you're playing? Are you playing that with Zarka?
Yeah, we've been going at it now for about a week, I guess. About a week deep, and it's good. Not gonna lie, guys, it's good.
It's good? It's worth the $30?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, you take take Minecraft, you take a little bit of Eve's. You take Minecraft's terraforming with Eve's sandbox, and sprinkle in some horses and some swords and some knights, and you've got yourself Life is Feudal.
Like, can you be a knight on a horse, or is it just like okay?
Yeah, you can. It's a dynamic. Crafting and combat system, so you can skill up into different trees. They've got archer tree, spearman tree. They've got a foot soldier tree. They got like a dual wielding axe sword guy. They've got cavalry with jousting and lances and.
Spanx, have you ever played the game Mount and Blade?
No.
This looks very, very similar to that, except more developed, to put it nicely.
There's
it looks pretty good, actually.
I mean, this game, you literally start with nothing. You start with nothing, and you've got to make a shovel, and then you got to make a pickaxe, and then you've got to bust some rock and put up a furnace and terraform some land to just even get like a little home down, and then with the wood and the stone that you're getting, you can make some primitive tools, make some primitive weapons, and then you just kind of start from there. So it does have a survival aspect to it.
Okay.
Zark and I, we've been into it a week. We just put up a castle. We named it what was it? It's Tijuana. We named it like Tijuana Retreat or something like that.
Tijuana Retreat. That's nice. Yeah.
So we got a little 10x10 castle up. Just skilling up, having fun. Stabbed a few guys in the face already with my spear. That was pretty fun.
Oh, nice.
It looks pretty good, but it's got a lot of people saying that it's a lot of microtransaction in it, and that worries me.
I mean there is, but no, it's not. It's not like that. It's not like a pay-to-win kind of game.
Is it? Is it like pay for skin?
There's a premium subscription.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. It's really for what it is.
The premium prescriptions. Just gets you access. Yeah, just gets you access to better combat power hours and gets you access to these gods tokens, which you can buy skins with, which don't give your weapons any better stats.
It just looks cool. Okay, yeah. So I have no problem with microtransactions so long as they only affect how things look, not how things play.
But here's what I can say about the game. It's got long-term potential. It's got some long-term potential. It's not single shard. There's about 6 or so shards.
Okay.
But each shard can hold up to 10,000 people.
Nice.
And the server is like 35 kilometers long.
Okay.
So it's one persistent world. Just like the amount of there's gold and silver in the game. There's only so much. So once you start mining gold, you're tapping into the world's supply of gold because there's only so many.
And it's finite.
Yeah, there's only so many millions of cubic meters of gold in the game, and none will ever be reproduced ever again.
Now, are you on the same server Urandus is on, or?
I assume I assume he's playing with the Imperium guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got the Imperium Goonfleet guys have a base, and then next to it, the Goons then have a base next to the water. So we're right next to each other.
So SA Goons and Imperium Goons.
Yep.
Okay.
And we're teaming up with all the other English-speaking people to go after the Chinese-speaking people. That's currently what's happening.
Dude.
So real life wars.
Practice you racist bastards! I can't believe.
Well, hey, I didn't say anything.
Are you
racist.
telling me you don't like Asians?
I didn't say I was not. That was not a racist statement.
I was just teasing. I was just teasing. No, that'll be a tough fight against the Chinese.
Yeah, they don't sleep. I've heard this.
So,
they only wait and to kill you.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's got some long-term potential, which is
it looks really pretty. That's why.
So let's think about this. So some of the interesting things that you just said in that description is it's a very big map, right? The server holds 10,000 people, but it's not single shard. Up to 10,000 people, right?
And when I say single shard, there's a European server, there's a U.S. server, there might only be 3 or 4 servers.
Yeah,
but not that many.
But does the fact that it might hold 10,000 people appeal to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
because I am a massive multiplayer sandbox, open world sandbox
kind of guy.
I mean, that's
right.
Those are the types of games that I like to play.
So what's interesting, right, is we have things like 7 Days, right, which is sandbox and kind of open, but perpetually in alpha. We have a game like this, which is sandboxy. We have a lot of games that come out that want to be sandboxes with lots of people, right? I argue that if Eve thinks its days are numbered, if it really just put a little effort in, be awesome.
Totally.
I don't subscribe, in case the audience is wondering. I do not subscribe to the fact that Eve is a niche game. I think that Eve cannot be a niche game just as it is today if they clean it up. So, and I think games like this game, I saw there were 3 different options when I went to buy the software, right? I wasn't sure which one to buy, and I haven't bought it yet. Did you buy the middle, the bottom, the top end of the game? Which did you think was the best one to get, Spanx?
So I picked the game up over a year ago.
Okay.
And back a year ago, you had to pay $30 or $40 to get access to the beta. I played the beta for a few weeks and then I put it down. I knew it had potential, but I just didn't. Had taken the game as far as I wanted to have taken it, but was waiting for the game to develop further before I picked it up again.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Zarker and I were just hanging out one night, and he's all like, "Yeah, man, I just got this ping today about life is feudal, and it looks really awesome." I was like, "Oh yeah, I got that game." He's like, "Yeah, man, they got a big base up, and they're causing shenanigans," and I was like, "Let's do it."
Let's do it.
So,
yeah, I mean,
we got our own little Casa de la Casa.
And here's the interesting thing, right? So, all of us met because we played Eve, and in our case, Spanx, right? We played with the Eve guys that went to H1Z1.
Yep.
We pulled Zarker back into Eve, and we all keep going playing games together, and it's lots of fun, right?
I just pinged McLeod last time. I was like, McLeod, you got to get a piece of this Life is Feudal. It's good, man.
And you know what?
I was looking at which ones I need to get. To be honest,
so it's Life is Feudal MMO.
Yeah, I swear I looked at one and it was like $16 or something like that, and then when I went on to Steam, it was like 24, 25 or whatever. Like,
so before the MMO came out, they had Life is Feudal Your Own, which was just like basically a 4 or 5 kilometer map, and then you could host it yourself, and you can invite up to 40 people or something, and that was it.
See, I would like that honestly a little more, I think.
Then they had Life is Feudal Forest Village, which is just building and crafting, and that was it. That's all it was. No combat whatsoever. It was basically just the creative mode of Minecraft, and then they came out with the MMO, which is much like Life is Feudal Your Own, but it's run on their servers. It's can hold 10,000 people. It's 30 times the size of Your Own.
So, okay. So that's the distinction then.
Yeah. So like Life is Feudal Your Own is literally it's your world on your server. You control who comes in. You're the admin of that server. Whether it's just you playing on your little 4 kilometer map, or whether you invite people or not. So that's how they developed the game. I mean, they developed it in little chunks like that, where they always wanted the MMO, but before they could do that, they had to do some other things first. That's
cool. It's definitely...
having said all of that, gentlemen, I have to bid you farewell. I got to go home.
Okay, dokie.
Did you just get to the office an hour ago?
Yeah, well, I got to go home now because it's daddy daycare. I watch the kids.
Why do you spend an hour at the office? Can I ask this question before you go, or is this something
because I love the video game.
Why can't you do that? You can't do it at home?
Well, so my office is just across the street. So.
Oh, okay. Uranus is like Porsche bags, daddy daycare time.
It just takes me a minute to
He loves daddy daycare, Uranus. He loves being a dad. He does.
Spanx would rather dad than come hang out with us. So.
I got a boogie.
All right, Spanx. Thanks for spending some time with us. We appreciate you driving by, buddy.
Cheers, bud.
Always love doing this stuff.
I know, and you're always welcome. You're always welcome.
Take care, bro.
He's got really quiet. Scythe, are you still gaming?
I may have started gaming again. I got an invite from one of my buddies to join their squad, so I'm talking to y'all while shooting fucking stormtroopers.
So on the topic of Life is Feudal, so that one's out of alpha now, right? It's a real game. It's a real release, I think.
Yeah, it is.
And and I looked into that, and I'm just like, I really enjoy 7 Days to Die. I like it. I'm on a server. I'm building a giant freaking base on a server. It's the Sugar server, by the way, if anybody wants to play. They've got a really nice program going on that server. I'm like, I may just go over to this because this looks cool as shit.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
I mean...
It's pretty awesome.
I just don't have the money to buy a copy right now, so I'd be like, I have to wait. Wait for payday.
Wait for bonus month? Hold it, wait a minute.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you're buying it.
Probably.
Round 1, maybe, of bonus month.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't get that. No. Yeah. Sorry. You do. I don't. So...
Yeah.
So it's interesting, there's some games out there, but thinking about what's out there in the game industry, right? And we're gonna wrap this up in a little bit, probably about 10 minutes. I don't really think there's a lot out there that I'm seeing advertised that is a big deal coming down the pike. What do you guys think?
There's some stuff, but it's all like, we've just announced this project. It'll be ready in 3 years. And which me as a gamer, I accept that. I understand why they announced it that early. They're trying to generate some pre-release revenue so they can make sure their production is done correctly. But They just really haven't announced anything that's coming out in the next month or 3 that is actually good or that looks good to me. And I'm expecting to see some of that here in probably April. You'll start hearing what's coming out next.
Yeah, I like things that are coming out late fall because, golf season. Because I'm boring. I'm boring. I play those things. Yeah, so Dual Universe, more Sith
game. Online plus Minecraft, that is
Dual Universe.
Space Engineers.
No, he's saying Dual Universes. So, and to be honest, I haven't really looked into Dual Universe that much. Excuse me a minute.
I think I know a Scandinavian woman who plays Dual Universe. Interesting. Randomly.
So, what's that mean?
I don't know. It was just the last time I heard Dual Universe, or someone saying, "I'll come play Dual Universe." It was a Scandinavian woman that I knew from where the fuck.
Oh, you knew her? Okay, that's different.
Yeah, probably from H1.
There's a Scandinavian woman McLeod knows from H1, and I don't remember a Scandinavian woman. So
yeah.
Do I know
her? Maybe.
I don't know. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
But it was just interesting. Oh, hold it. Cue the ABBA music. dude. I think I actually saw ABBA perform live on TV.
Fucking Christ! I thought you were about to say you saw them in concert.
No. I might have been a little too young to see them in concert live.
I was gonna make fun of you real hard.
Those were some Scandinavian women, though.
Just to take this out of a ridiculous tangent, what I did go see live fairly recently? Hamilton, the play. That was actually pretty fucking good.
Oh, you liked it? I have not seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm not going to New York anytime soon to go see it. There's nothing in the video game releases or in planning that I'm remotely interested in. It's been like that for at least a year or more. That's Xerox. And really, there's been very few things I've been really interested in outside of EVE, so I kind of live in EVE land, right? H1Z1 was fun. It had potential, and then they completely screwed it up.
Got real boring because, they went to the wrong side of the game. And now we have PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and that's all that's getting released now is shit like that, and I'm tired of their crap.
Yeah, there's a lot of the same thing there, right? So that's a big challenge. Doing the same game, saturating.
The same to me, it looks like sports games again, and I'm done.
I love sports games. There was this video game when I was in college, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, and we just pumped money into it. In the student union, like you wouldn't mind.
Was it like the football game where you actually had the handle you had to pull back and throw forward to actually throw the ball?
No, it was a football game though. But it was a football game with robots, and you could upgrade them and things. And if they got tackled too hard, they exploded and you lost the player.
Oh, Blood Brawl or Blood Bowl.
I forget what it's called, but it was great. It's really annoying. Are you guys like this? Do you guys touch your flat screens and put fingerprints and shit on them?
If I see a piece of gunk on there, I'll get it off and then I'll clean it. But yeah, I do touch it if there's something gross on there and I need to get it off.
I absolutely do not touch it, but I have 2 little specks of something on it. It's annoying the fuck out of me. I have to have a perfectly clean screen. I have to have
and the thing is, more than a fingerprint.
Hey,
so I get that off.
Port 66 is out there. How you doing, Port 66?
Oh,
you left our corp, and you never said bye. And we're still trying to figure out why you left. So, and by the way, we have a giant manufacturing base now, so you're missing out. So, in Delve, are we all gearing up for the big Athanor release? Everybody excited? I'm excited. Well, we'll see. Hey, I see Caleb's green on Skype. He might be.
That's the same color of his face right now because he's dying of flu.
My son had a little touch of it, and my niece had a touch of it the last couple days.
People just about being, keeling over because of this fucking flu going on.
All right.
Holy crap.
So I'm going to say thank you to everybody for all the follows and all the comments in the chat. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate. Porthos, you should call me if you want to come back. We really appreciate everybody in all the chat and all the big conversations. Everybody's great. It's great to have you guys watching the show and participating. That's what kind of makes it fun for us. It's really the main reason we do it, because you're all kind of the extended talk show. So we appreciate it. But we've been on here for about a little over an hour and a half, so we're going to wrap it up. Any final things? Yeah, go ahead.
I need to make a comment on your thing saying we do this for the fun of talking to the chat. I thought it was an excuse for day drinking.
It's that too, but I haven't drank the last couple shows, so I don't know.
Well, I'm not
trying to clean up my app. Trying to clean up my app, be a respectable citizen, all that good stuff.
All right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He needs to do it because of a court order.
That sounds closer.
McLeod, you got anything parting words for our audience here?
Just chilling. I would say in terms of parting words and stuff.
Yeah.
Check out Talking in Stations tomorrow at 1700.
Oh yeah, Talking in Stations 1700 Eve, and tomorrow morning I'll be there for sure. It's not golf season yet, so I'll watch your show. Guess
who else is going to be there?
Who's going to be there?
CCP Fozzie.
Oh, Fozzie's going to be there. Yay!
Oh yeah.
Talk about shit. Eric, just go in chat and constantly ask him to get one of his tech guys on here.
No. You there's proper ways to ask CCP to do things. And you don't badger people because they don't like it.
I was joking.
I don't think they like me anyway. I beat them up too much. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for being out there. We appreciate you spending a little time with us here on Saturday afternoon. U.S. time is Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, wherever you are. We'll be back same time next week. Thank you. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.